right, welcome back to Global Morning. As we reach the business end of the program, let's still looking at AFCON 2023, and the recent FIFA ranking is what we'll be casting our eyes upon this in the next 30 minutes plus. And I've got someone who was in Cote d'Ivoire during the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations. He is a coach and also a sports journalist in the person of Chris Onokweku. Welcome back from Cote d'Ivoire.
She likes speak French.
I can see your bonjour. I think we have to export you back to Cote d'Ivoire because you're no longer in Nigeria. You're not wearing the Nigerian jersey, but you're wearing the Ivory Coast. Oh no,
this is actually not a jersey. It's just ordinary T-shirt.
But I can see the elephant.
It's of a name from there.
Oh boy. All right. So how was it in Cote d'Ivoire? The experience. I remember the first day you arrived. You told me you had issues with the exchange rate. That was the first thing that welcomed you.
Yeah. The exchange is actually is not favorable to Nigerians over there, especially those that traveled. I remember when I traveled, it was 55,000 CFA to 100,000 naira. And as time goes on, before we left, it was 45,000 CFA to 100,000 naira. Wow. So, and I remember when I went to one of these Francophone countries to buy a car, I think Benin Republic, they use the same CFA. Yeah. I bought my car then for 1.3 million. And when we changed it, we were using bag to carry the money. So you can see how the difference between our money and theirs. And because of that, we spend so much. We spend so much money. When you convert our money to their own, sometimes you'll be discouraged to get some things done. So it's really something just have to be done quickly.
All right, let's get into the business, Prof. How was the final? How would you judge the final? And thank God you're a coach also. What do you think went wrong on the final day?
Well, even though I'm going to do a story on why we lost, so many things happened, especially the issue of intimidation. We were seriously intimidated. Even as a journalist, I couldn't bear the crowd in the stadium. The stadium is actually 60,000 capacity, but what we saw was more than 80,000. And the annoying aspect was that they were not selling tickets, which is abnormal. You know, they were not selling, so they threw the gate open for their citizens to all come in, and because of that, the stadium was more than the number of people expected in that stadium. And the funny aspect is that the other nationals, especially the ones we defeated, were all wearing the orange uniform jersey of the Ivorians. All of them were just supporting. I don't know what we did to them. They were just supporting Ivory Coast to win the trophy. And apart from that, some of those players played with injuries. For instance, our goalkeeper had blisters on his two fingers. Yes. So during the training, we were always begging him to just manage. Why? Because we don't have confidence in the other goalkeeper. The second choice, Olorunleke, they don't even dress him. And that guy he has better reflexes than Uzor. So I don't know what the coach, I don't know what must have happened in the camp. But for me, as a former goalkeeper also, I believe Olorunleke should have been considered ahead of Uzor. I don't know what the coach saw. He's the one in charge. He must have seen one or two things better than this other guy. But when it comes to sharpness, somebody that can go down and quickly recover, or reflexes and all those stuff, I think Olorunleke will have been a better. But they don't dress him. Uzor is always on the bench. So when we saw the situation, we just have to beg the first choice, Wabeli, to just manage. He managed to play that final. He played with injuries.
Are we saying George Finidi and other assistant coaches were not able to speak to Peseiro? Peseiro wasn't listening to his coaching crew.
I had on good authority, I won't mention name, that Peseiro is a very stubborn coach. And I saw it in AFCON, that he's a very stubborn coach. If not, we'll have won the trophy. It is because of his stubbornness that we lost the final. He's a good coach, but he's stubborn. He doesn't take some advice. For instance, somebody in the NFF told me that I actually suggested as a coach, because when you are playing African football, it is all about physicality. You need people that can fight. If you watch 10 years ago, 2013, when late Keshi, he brought in some home-based players in that team. And one of them scored the final goal. That's Mba.
Mba.
Yeah, he took that risk because he has not been known. He wants to make name. So he took that risk to score that goal. And I actually suggested that should be, even if you don't want a home-based player, any other department, but in that midfield, you need fighters. You need an home-based player that can fight for the ball. But we didn't. You saw what happened in the final. Casey was able to muzzle out any other midfielder. Oyeka was actually tired. The guy played all the matches. No rest. Wobi, of course, is Ajebo. You know, he's not. He doesn't have that strength to fight for ball. So that was why the Havana took over our midfield. So many things went wrong. It's just that time will not allow. But for somebody like Ekong played with injury. Before South African game, Ekong did not train. That's the sacrifice these players made. He did not train. That's why you see bandage always on his lap. He did not train. He was injury. Osimhen had injury against Cameroon. He was not supposed to play. But because of patriotism, this guy went to the pitch to just see. And the coach also does not have faith in other players. He took some of us to tell him that, why are you not playing Iheanacho? Iheanacho is a good player until he considered playing Iheanacho. So I think the coach for me,
should we retain this coach from what you've seen? Is he someone that should still handle the Super Eagles ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers and World Cup proper?
Actually, he has known the player, and the players know him very well now. The players know him very well. There's a good relationship between the two. But he's not working with, I must confess to you, he doesn't work with
Finidi George.
He doesn't. The only thing
Finidi is an ex-international.
The only thing Finidi does in that team is just to warm up the team, warm up the players, but run with the team. That's all. Just to run, even to run around with the team. That's all. The white assistants are the one that warm up the team. They are the one, the goalkeeper trainer. The Nigerians there, they don't really have serious impact.
Is the NFF aware of this maligning?
They are not also happy. That's why we said the man is stubborn. If he wants to do things the way he wants, and you won't blame him. The person that brought him is not the one in charge now. It was Amaju Pini that brought him.
Shouldn't that make him?
That was what I was expecting the president board to do, to sit him down and say, we are in charge now. This is the way we want to operate. You cannot operate the way you are going. That is what I expect them to do. Even after now, that they should sit down with him. He should listen to them. You can't be higher than your employers. So that is one of the reasons he doesn't.
Are you sure the NFF have not compromised?
No.
That's why.
If it's that one, if it's the past, I don't know. But this present one, I don't think so. They actually gave him a free hand to operate. All those players you see in the team, he was the one that invited him, including Wabali. He actually did a good job. He did a good job. It's just that, nobody has monopoly of wisdom. When you listen to other people, even your younger ones can give you advice that will help you for life. But here he is this type of person that if it's not me, if it's not my own, I don't want to take from anybody. So that is one of the reasons why we couldn't win, apart from the injuries and the intimidation from the fans and any other. And if you look at the place we went to play the match, in fact, I'm still having pains on my leg. We have to travel like 2.5 hours. The distance is like from here to Okene. 2.5 hours to go and play a final match. It's too far for a final match. And when I got to the stadium, I saw the Ivorians. They drove them in. We didn't see Super Eagles.
Why? What happened?
I don't know whether they delayed them, whether it's, all these African... Well, yes, African... I saw it also in 2008 when we went to the Nations Cup in Ghana. After the Black Stars drove in, they stopped the Super Eagles. They told them to go and pass it back. the fans blocked the vehicle that they should pass the back. And CAF were just looking. So I want to believe, because I was looking out for Super Eagles, I didn't see them. So I want to believe that was all to also contributed, because if you don't warm up well for a match, it will affect you. It will affect you. So for me, I want to give it to those players. They did well.
Let's look at the officiating. At a point, we noticed like the calls were all against the Super Eagles. Did you think at a point the referees were under pressure because they were officiating a match that had to do with host nations, and there were a lot of times we saw fouls against the Super Eagles players that would not be called, but once the Ivorians went down, there was a quick call.
If it's officiating, you just have to give it to CAF. They did well. I don't want to believe.
I'm talking about the finals now.
I know. I don't want to believe it's officiating. Actually, so many things, just like I said, also our players did not live up to.
Yeah. What happened? It felt like the Eagles were defending from the beginning, even when they were leading.
That is where the coach has a fault. That's why I said I wasn't comfortable with the way. If you watch, it's not even only the match. Go and watch the other matches. Once we scored a goal, they will sit back. You don't do that. If you continue to sit back and they equalize, and that was what happened. They sat back. As soon as they scored that goal, they sat back. And we're trying to defend 1-0 in the first half till the end. It's not possible. That is Mourinho's style. And I saw it somewhere on the Facebook that Mourinho was the one that sold these tactics to him. Even if somebody is selling something to you, can't you use your common sense to also add your own so that you can make it better? How can you sit back for 90 minutes? That's not football. If you can score one goal, that means you can score more goals. Why not go for more goals? This is a final. You are playing against the crowd also. Just like you also noticed the referee, even though I didn't see it, you are playing against referee also. Why not go for the second goal? Then before you sit back, you want to defend 1-0. It's not possible. I think those are the things they need to address. It's tactics. I don't enjoy it. They play well when they are attacking. They play well. But once they score, we tell them to sit back. Or it's only Osimhen in front. You don't play ball. You don't play football.
Okay, like that. Let's quickly look at the award of the Super Eagles when they return back to the country. For some people, it was like celebrating mediocrity. For some people, it was like scoring political cheap points by the president. What take is yours?
Well, ordinarily is when you win trophy, you have
member of the Order of the Niger.
Yeah. And but it's like the president appreciate them because if you look at before they left, nobody gave them the chance to even get to the quarterfinal. The place we stayed, we were being careful with the payment. We were not paying. We didn't pay throughout to the final. We just pay every week. We renew our rent, because we don't know whether they will crash out or not. But everybody was surprised. Even the Super Eagles themselves, they were surprised that they got to the final. So I think they need to appreciate them. But what I don't like about this award thing is that you can't continue giving award to only players. Journalists suffered in Côte d'Ivoire. I remember when we played South Africa in Bouaké, we traveled for 4 to 5 hours. Players, they flew. They got there, they flew back. Journalists traveled by road for 4 to 5 hours, came back in the midnight, around 2:30. The same thing with supporters club. These guys went with their money. They spent, some of them slept on bare floor. Those guys struggled to survive. Why? Because of Super Eagles. And now you are honoring only players. If, for instance, if the government decide to be writing a negative story about Super Eagles, do you think the players will not be demoralized? If the supporters club decided to remove their jersey, their green and white, and decide to wear the other countries, how will the players feel? I think it's unfair to the people that travel with them and also supported this team to the last. We spent so much money to move from one place to the other. The minimum is 2,000 CFA, which is about 4,500 minimum. Sometimes we spend 3,000 just to go and cover Super Eagles, go to the training, do everything, cover this event. The same thing with the supporters club. They traveled with their money to Bouaké, came back. These guys fed themselves throughout, apart from the tips they get from well-wishers. They take care of themselves. Government is not recognizing that. You don't do that to people. Tomorrow, I don't think anybody will want to do the same thing. Maybe you go follow the Super Eagles. You don't do that. Super Eagles, they are not a Lone Ranger. The people help them to get to that final.
All right, let's look at the fallout now. Looking at recent FIFA ranking, the Super Eagles from 48 in the world, they're now 28. And from 6th in Africa, they're now 3rd in Africa. Would you say it's been positive all the way for the Super Eagles?
Yes, I think they deserve even more than that.
Maybe. Is it justified how FIFA puts Morocco still top in Africa, then it's Senegal, then Nigeria, then Cote d'Ivoire, who are winners of the African trophy? Doesn't that put down Africa's Cup of Nations, the value of the African Cup of Nations?
No, that is not. If you look at tennis, that's the same thing. It is by points.
Okay.
It's not what you play in a particular tournament. Yeah. No, it's by points. Maybe the points Morocco has before now.
Based on their World Cup performance?
It's by points, yes. Like this Nations Cup now, because of Super Eagles' performance, they were able to gather enough points that gave them that third position in Africa. So it's not by the trophy, the person that won. That's why in the last World Cup, the person that won it is not the first. It was gradually until they got to the top. So it's by points. It's not by what your performance in a particular tournament. So for Super Eagles, I think it's a good one. They deserve to be in that third position, especially when they defeated Cameroon, defeated South Africa, even Angola. When they defeated those, even Cote d'Ivoire, they defeated those top footballing nations. That was what gave us those points. So they deserve it. And also South Africa, also they did well. Nobody gave them a chance. I never believed that they would get to the quarterfinal, let alone the getting the third place match. So I think they deserved it.
All right, let's look at Cote d'Ivoire. What do you think changed for Cote d'Ivoire? Immediately they sacked their coach, Jean Garcia. He was sacked, and they brought in a local coach, and the fortunes of the Elephants just turned around.
The same thing I was just talking about. Some of these white-skinned guys, they believe they know it all. Nobody has monopoly of wisdom. They believe they know it all. Africa, they don't know anything. No. You can see when Faye came in, nobody believed they were even going to qualify, let alone win the trophy. What happened? As an ex-international, of course, he will tell them his own story, how they played. He will bring in the aspect of patriotism. When you are, because that was what Okocha and Kanu actually did, or Odegbami also. Three of them were always telling these players, oh boy, if you know what it means to win Nations Cup. That was what was motivating our own players.
But what happened to them in the final?
In the final,
did they have the chance
I told you earlier that they played with injuries.
Okay.
Some of them played with injury. I know was not fit. A day before, no, that week before that final, Zaidu was training alone. He was training alone.
It was obvious Zaidu wasn't at his best.
He was. They were not fit. And the reason may be because the ones on the bench are not as good as. And another blunder, I want to believe the blunder is from the coach, Pesero. Ahmed Musa is an experienced player. That is where you need him. Why did you take him to AFCON if you know you are not going to use him? So that is where you need such. So for me, I think Faye, as an ex-international, actually helped. That is what some of us are also looking at. Let's bring in our ex-international. Finidi was not given any chance. And you know, Finidi is not the talking type. If we were to be somebody like Siasia or Amunike, they will talk. They will talk to players. But Finidi is a reserved person. He likes to mind his business. If you don't, you know, we have different kinds of persons. So maybe that was why. But for them to have gotten to the final, they must have done a good job on them. And for Cote d'Ivoire, they played for the coach. They played for the coach as an ex-international.
But being sincere, does Cote d'Ivoire are they truly champions? Let's aside in terms of the
CAF did not just pick them and put them in the final. They defeated so many teams, even defeated Nigeria. So for them to it was not even a penalty they used. That was why some of us were angry. If it were to be penalty shootout, we'll have been very happy, you know, that we lost gallantly. But after leading 1-0, you know, they came from nowhere, a team that managed to qualify with 2 points. That was why some of us were dumbfounded. We couldn't talk. So, but for them to have defeated so many teams, including Senegal. I think they were the one that defeated Senegal. Mali.
But Senegal,
Mali.
Senegal, accused CAF.
Yes.
The Senegal has a point.
But Senegal should hide their face in shame. Have they forgotten that Mani was supposed to be red-carded in that match? He was supposed to be red-carded, even though they cheated them later in the match. So it's 50-50. It's 50-50. Nobody should complain. For me, this is one of the best, if not the best, AFCON. In terms of everything, officiating. And you can see the way they were using the VAR. They were not wasting time like EPL.
No, but in Nigeria's game against South Africa, there was a lot of time wasted before they recalled that penalty that went against Nigeria.
Okay, this other penalty.
Why was that?
I think it's the match against
South Africa.
South Africa, yes.
Wasn't that dubious? Because Nigeria had gone to the other end to score.
That's why you are using VAR.
But VAR was.
If there was no VAR,
it should be a quick response, not. You know how many minutes it took them from the...
Do you know that some referees, they like to be independent? VAR is like a spare tire to a car. It's now left for the referee to use it or not. So some referees, they don't like using VAR. They want to be independent. That is why you see all those delays. Sometimes they will be disturbing the referee. Go and check. Go and check this thing. That's why you see the referee listening or contemplating whether or not. That's why you see some players also mounting pressure for them to go and check. That was what happened. So I think that goal was justified. It was a penalty before that goal. So that one was very, very okay.
Okay, let's wrap it up. In terms of 2023 AFCON, it's been described as the best AFCON ever.
Yeah.
What do you think made it the best AFCON ever?
Just like I said earlier, officiating was superb. Even Murillo said something like that if Ferdinand said the EPL should go and learn from Africa what they did. Then another thing is goalkeeping. The goalkeepers were up to the task. They were fantastic. In fact, everything.
Who were your top 3 goalkeepers for the tournament?
It's Williams of South Africa. He considered less than 1 goal less than Wabali. Wabali is the second. Wabali will have won it if we have won the trophy, because he was also fantastic. I don't know the third person, but those are the 2 top goalkeepers in AFCON. Then the fans, wow. Almost all the matches, the stadium were always jam-packed. You know, the Ivorians, they like football very well. And I also forgot to say that a day before that match, I went to the market. They call it Ajame. We have so many Nigerians there, especially Yoruba people from Ejigbo. When I went there, a day before that day, there were nobody in the market. You know, the market was just free. We bought what to. The following day, I just went to pick something, and I saw the market jam-packed. What were they buying? Jersey, orange jersey. And the marketers, the traders also reduced the price to encourage people to buy. That was why what you saw on the everywhere, orange. Even foreigners were buying their jerseys just to support them. So we need another reason why we lost. There was no support for the Super Eagles. In terms of when we wanted to play Angola, apart from the fans that were there already in Côte d'Ivoire, they brought 7 trucks of supporters to come and support against Nigeria. That day, supporters club they couldn't even play because their own noise was more than, because they brought 7 trucks of people to come and support Angola. But at the end of the day, we won. The same thing with Morocco. They brought more than 200 persons to come and support their team. The same thing with Ghana. The journalists took care of them, took care of their fans. Morocco, the same thing. But Nigeria, how many were we? We were less than 5,000. I don't think we are even up to, let me not exaggerate, we are about 2,000 in a 60,000 capacity. And we had more than 70,000. What do you expect? At a point, they couldn't play anything because the Africans were just shouting everywhere. I think government, that was why some of us said Côte d'Ivoire deserved to win it because they invested so much on it. We didn't go with any fan. Instead, we were bringing officials, governors, ministers to come and do what? Can they watch on the screen and rather channel that money into people that will come and root for the Super Eagles? So it's one of the reasons Super Eagles didn't, when somebody is down and you start hearing some song or somebody ginger you up, you play. Those things were not there. Even though supporters, when they do anything, they will not hear because they were overwhelmed. So in subsequent tournaments, yeah. I think we should consider fans. And the annoying aspect is that the corporate bodies, they are fond of promising teams when they get to the final. When the teams are preparing, we don't see them. I was expecting them to say, okay, we are sponsoring 1,000 fans to go and support the Super Eagles. They didn't do that. They were promising Super Eagles, if you score one goal, you give you so amount. You don't do that. That's ambush marketing. You don't do that. I think we should sit up. If we want to win this AFCON or World Cup or any other tournament in future, all African games are around the corner. They should be investing in fans or in supporters. People are ready to support the Super Eagles, but they were not there. Nobody was there for the Super Eagles. So I want to give it to them. They tried, they gave their best, but it's a pity they didn't get the support they needed.
All right, final question for CAF. Do we give credit to CAF for the tournament and for Motsepe, Dr. Motsepe, who is the new CAF president? Are we beginning to see what he promised when he was campaigning to become CAF president?
Yes, I think we've seen a different outcome entirely. I know many Nigerians back home, when they cancelled our goal and gave it to South Africa, they will say, it's because of you.
Well, it felt like that, obviously.
No, there's nothing like that. The man is a very neutral person, even though
but we saw him on camera. The camera caught him
yes.
during the penalty.
Yes.
When Nigeria missed, you saw him.
It doesn't matter. You can't take it away.
He's human.
Blood is thicker than water, no matter what. But he was just neutral. The way they structure CAF, FIFA, there's nothing like tribal or any. You want to influence anything, you can't influence. You can do it in your federations back home. You can't influence. They will impeach him. So he just have to respect himself. So there was nothing like they are trying to influence referee. Even the hotel they stayed, Sofitel Hotel, you can't come close to the referees that you want to see them for what. I think for me, I think this is the best AFCON. Morocco is the next host. They just have to sit up. They just have to do more than this. It was very interesting, you enjoy yourself, if not for the fact that we spent so much money because of our exchange rate. Other countries didn't feel it.
How would you describe the pitches?
The pitches, fantastic. Just that they were slippery. They were slippery because they are always wetting the grasses. But they say that's the standard.
All right, so I think nice to have you back to Nigeria, and I'd like you to change this to green, white, grey.
I actually miss Nigeria, seriously, especially our food. Even though somebody was cooking, it wasn't like Nigerian food, but
a Nigerian or a French lady.
It's actually in Nigeria, but he has stayed there. Once you stay there
for so long,
you start getting used to the way they do things over there. So, but very nice. They tried.
All right, so welcome back, Coach. Welcome back to Nigeria. And that's, I guess, the last talk we're going to have as regards AFCON 2023 and the FIFA ranking. I want to say a big thank you to Coach Chris Onokpe, who was there live as a journalist and covering the Super Eagles. And he has given us insight as regards why the Super Eagles were not able to carry the day and some other things, hopefully, the Nigerian Football Federation would learn from. And also Coach Joseph Pisiero, hope he's listening, or he would listen or watch this broadcast so that he can add that little spice to the Super Eagles team, so that coming 2024 African Cup of Nations that will be hosted in Morocco.